Stanford University, known for birthing tech giants and Nobel laureates, was the last place anyone expected to find Keanu Reeves. But there he was dressed in a hoodie, jeans, and aviator sunglasses, sipping lukewarm coffee in the back of Professor Edwin Thornhill's advanced calculus class. It was the first day of the semester, and Professor Thornhill, a brilliant mathematician with the people skills of a wild hedgehog, walked in with his usual swagger and sarcasm. "If you think this class will be a breeze, you're wrong. If you think being famous will help you, you're even more wrong." Keanu, blending in like a math ninja, gave a slight smile. He wasn't here to impress or be noticed. He was here to learn and, more importantly, to heal. Backstory flash: 6 months earlier, the media didn't report this, but Keanu had been working on a secret project, a documentary about the intersections of physics, mathematics, and philosophy. While researching Gödel's incompleteness theorems, he became enthralled with the idea that math was a language of the soul, pure, infinite, and eternal. He decided to enroll at Stanford under the pseudonym KeanuReeves. The admissions committee, skeptical at first, was won over by his entrance essay, which included an original proof connecting differential equations with Zen principles of emptiness. They thought he was nuts. They also gave him a full scholarship. Scene: back in class, Professor Thornhill strutted to the whiteboard and slapped on a problem that made the front row gasp audibly. "Here's a fun one. Solve this nonlinear partial differential equation and find the conditions under which the system diverges. You have 20 minutes. He stared directly at Keanu. "Not a coincidence. Mr. Reeves, is it? What brings you to my class? Looking to win an Oscar for goodwill calculus?" There were snickers. Keanu's reputation preceded him, even under an alias. Keanu chuckled, a warm, low rumble. "I like math. It's quiet. People don't shout at numbers." A few students smiled. Thornhill didn't. "Well, let's see how quiet you are when you're wrong." Thornhill stalked the room while the students worked. At minute 12, Keanu put down his pen and leaned back, eyes closed. "You done, Mr. Reeves? Or did the numbers whisper the answer in your ear?" Keanu handed in his paper. "Something like that." Thornhill read it. His eyebrows shot up, then furrowed. He turned pale, then read. It was correct. Not only that, it was elegant, minimalist, almost poetic. He cleared his throat. "We'll discuss your method in the next class." But Keanu didn't gloat. He simply said, "Thank you, Professor. I'm looking forward to it." Later that evening in Keanu's apartment, the place was modest. A whiteboard covered the wall, scribbled with formulas and quotes from Alan Turing, Emmy Noether, and Lousy. His friend and confidant, Maggie, a fellow math grad and former MIT dropout, came by with dinner. "So, how was the math cult?" "Thornhill tried to make me a cautionary tale. It backfired." "Good. He needs humbling. You okay?" "Yeah," Keanu nodded. It felt real. I forgot about the cameras. I forgot about being Keanu Reeves. Montage. Over the next few weeks, Keanu participates in class debates, solves impossible problems, mentors struggling students in secret. He even starts a math blog under a pseudonym, Neologics, which quietly starts trending among academic circles. Thornhill, meanwhile, becomes obsessed. "Who is this guy?" he mutters, poring over Keanu's problem sets late at night. The professor's jealousy is equal parts fear and awe. This man, this actor, was unraveling his worldview. And Thornhill didn't like it. Section 1 coffee, friendship, and Fourier, the campus cafe, resembled a grown-up Lego set, modular, overpriced, full of bright pieces clicking together just so. Keanu, Maya, and their new friend Gabriel Gilup Lopez occupied a corner table laden with differential equation scribbles on recycled napkins. G-Loop. Dude, I googled KeanuReeves last night, your blog's blowing up. Neologics has more retweets than Beyonce's kitten pictures. Keanu, grinning. Math kittens greater than celebrity kittens. It's science. Maya eyed him curiously. You really okay being anonymous? You could publish under your real name and ignite the internet like it's the Matrix Day 1 again. Keanu. I'm not hiding, I'm incubating. Fame is like loud wallpaper. Sometimes you need a blank wall to see the art. Maya nodded, scribbling that quote onto her notebook margin, starring it thrice. Section 2. Enter the Symposium Stanford. S. Annual Calculus and Cognition Symposium was academic Coachella. Visiting scholars, poster sessions, and enough lanyards to yarn bomb a city bus. Thornhill, who chaired the keynote panel, saw his chance that he sent Keanu a formal email dripping with faux cordiality. Dear Mr. Reeves, your recent performance suggests you might attempt to solve the plenary challenge at Friday's symposium. Feel free. The whiteboard is public. Translation. Step on my stage and I'll watch you trip. Keanu, never. One to dodge a gauntlet replied, Dear Professor, thank you. I like public whiteboards. They're democratic. Cheers, KC. Section 3 brains, broom closets, and a secret proofer the night before the symposium. Maya burst into Keanu's apartment. She'd borrowed the spare key to fetch her laptop charger. Or so she claimed. She found him cross-legged on the floor, wall-to-wall whiteboard swirling with Fourier transforms and haiku. Maya, are those haiku about Laplace? Keanu, syllables and integrals both need balance. Maya saw notes labeled Plan B. Thornhill's problem rumor had it was a monster involving non-trivial zeros of the Riemann zeta function, beef jerkied into a partial differential equation so ugly only its mother, prime number theory, could love it. Maya, softly, you look tired? Eat something? Keanu, in a bit. You ever notice how hunger clarifies limits? Like pushing a function toward infinity. Maya, philosophical fasting. Got it. I'll order Thai. Section 4. Showdown. At the symposium Friday, an auditorium bursting with Ph.D.S. postdocs and the occasional lost freshman sniffing out free pizza. Cameras hovered, the math department live-streamed everything. Nothing says clout like real-time LaTeX. Thornhill strutted on stage. Thornhill, our challenge today queries the deep interplay between analytic continuation and heat flow. Equations on curved manifolds. Any brave soul may attempt it. Results must be precise, not photogenic. Subtle dig. Actors focus on looks. Keanu raised a hand, casual as ordering a latte. The audience buzzed. Thornhill extended a marker like Excalibur. Presented to a court jester. Keanu accepted and then did something no one expected. He invited Maya and G-Loop to join him. Keanu, to crowd, math is collaborative. Let's make it a jam session. Thornhill sputtered, but policy allowed any registered students. Montage, 90-minute mathematical jazz, Keanu sketches a heat kernel. G-Loop riffs with boundary conditions. Maya reorganizes terms into a geometric lens. Together, they weave a proof so symmetrical it could hang in the Louvre next to the Mona Lisa's secret. Polynomial, the final flourish. Keanu boxes the result, signs it QED team variable. And yes adds a winking face. Silence. Then thunderous applause and a few scandalized gasps at the emoticon. Thornhill, cornered by truth, clears his throat. Thornhill, forced, it appears. They have demonstrated a valid solution, unorthodox notation aside. A journalist from Scientific American leaned forward. Professor, any comments on Mr. Reeves's mathematical pedigree? Thornhill, pedigree isn't required when the work is sound. It hurt him to admit, but facts trump ego, at least when witnesses are recording. Section 5. Interlude. Kindness Derivative Ost Symposium. Keanu found a note slid under his door. Thank you for proving people like me belong here. A first-gen freshman. Attached. A hand-drawn graph with a smiley derivative. He pinned it to his fridge next to a fortune cookie. Slip reading, your humility will outshine your talent. Section 6. The bet of the century and able to sleep. Thornhill drafted an idea. Spicier than Sriracha Calculus. A head-to-head at the upcoming National Collegiate Math Collegium, NCMC. A live broadcast contest where universities flex with brainpower. He cornered Keanu after class. Thornhill, you versus me, NCMC. If I win, you withdraw from Stanford, go act somewhere else. If you win, I'll sign a public apology. And end every lecture this year citing your blog. Gasps rippled. Stakes skyrocketed. Keanu sipped his now legendary lukewarm coffee. Keanu, deal on one condition. We compete as partners, not opponents. You coach the team, I solve alongside. We win for Stanford together. Sound rational? Thornhill blinked. Cooperation? This man was maddening. Thornhill, finally, I'll consider. The students cheered, some out of relief, some because the cafeteria had just restocked curly fries. Section 7. Cliffhanger. That night, Thornhill opened an ancient notebook, his own failed attempt at proving a famous conjecture. He stared, bittersweet. Thornhill, soft. Maybe. Partnership is the missing variable. Meanwhile, Keanu meditated beneath a campus oak, whispering the first lines of a new blog post. When rivalry differentiates into collaboration, the derivative yields growth. Fade out. Rain resumes soft cleansing. Office hours in the Twilight Zone. Professor Edwin. Thornhill's office looked exactly the way a hurricane would if it majored in mathematics. Desk sliding piles of journal proofs, mugs calcified with coffee strata, and a rogue plush Mobius strip. That squeaked topology. When squeezed, Keanu Reeves stood in the doorway, unsure where to place his hands or feet, given the floor's dense carpeting of research papers dating back to the Carter administration. Thornhill, without looking up, closed the door. The drafts create chaos vectors. Keanu, deadpan, understood. Containing entropy. The door clicked. Thornhill's spectacles finally lifted. His eyes had the exhausted sheen of someone who'd binge-watched every episode of Jeopardy. Looking for hints. Thornhill, I've accepted your proposal. We'll co-captain the Stanford team for the NCMC. Try not to autograph any integrals mid-problem. Keanu, grinning. No promises if the integrals ask nicely. A silence. Thornhill fiddled with a vintage fountain pen. Thornhill, soft, surprising. Himself. Why do you want this? You've no need for academic medals. Keanu. Because it isn't about medals. It's about reminding people, especially you and me, that intellect is a commons, not a coliseum. Thornhill blinked, the words needling the cynic in him like well-aimed darts. Somewhere, a squeaky Mobius strip chirped topology. Because irony loves good timing. 2. Assembling the squad. Stanford Math Lounge resembled a recruitment fair thrown by the Avengers if every Avenger carried a teen spire instead of a vibranium shield. Keanu and Thornhill auditioned volunteers via 30-second lightning proofs on napkin geometry. Maya Patel, Espresso Oracle, Series Convergence Savant. Gabriel G. Loop Lopez, Boundary Value Whisperer, Eater of Alarming Quantities. Of Funyuns. Yuki Tanaka, Algebraic Geometer who beat leukemia and the SATs in the same year. Andrei Volkov, exchange student, number theory polyglot, part-time concert pianist. Each candidate got one napkin, one Sharpie, and one absurd theorem. Prove dragons are piecewise linear manifolds. Yuki did it with origami, Andrei by mapping. Fibonacci spirals onto dragon scales, Maya by caffeine-induced metaphors, and G-Loop ate half his napkin when he ran out of space, then kept writing on the other half. They were in. Keanu to team. We're not the best because we're perfect. We're the best because we're weird in complementary directions. G-Loop. Like orthogonal pizza slices. Keanu. Precisely. 3. Training montage, math movie style cue and 80s synth track nobody asked for but everybody loves. Over 3 frenetic weeks. Dawn drills, Keanu leads guided meditations on vector spaces beneath the redwoods. Chalk fighting, Thornhill hurls surprise problems like dodgeballs. Wrong answers earn push-ups, the plank of shame dubbed the Jacobean. Proof karaoke. Contestants must sing the mean value theorem to the tune of Bohemian Rhapsody. Andrei's falsetto moves Ataya to tears. Midnight randomization, Maya, programs a bot to text them stochastic integrals at 3 a.m. because insomnia is just free study time. By week's end, the team's group chat, Kernel Panic, is 2,000 memes, deep and features a running gag, replacing every occurrence of therefore with Keanu 4. 4. The leak heard round the Quad Stanford Daily's Click Hungry. Reporter, Chloe Grundy, sniffs a story hotter than a malfunctioning Bunsen burner. Hollywood star secretly dominates math department. One sneaky hallway photo later, Keanu, solving a differential equation with the relaxed grace of someone tying shoelaces, and the headline drops. News alert, push notification pinging hundreds. Neo from The Matrix enrolls at Stanford under. Fake name Professor Thornhill allegedly seething. Within hours, paparazzi swarm the campus gates, #MathTrix trends on X, and a drone with a smiley face banner buzzes B302. We you, Keanu. The sanctuary of anonymity evaporates faster than dry ice in a heat lab. 4.1. Team Fallout Maya storms into the lounge, brandishing her phone. Maya, we've gone viral for the wrong derivative. G-Loop chewing Funyuns. Hey, maybe Doritos will sponsor us. Yuki quietly. Publicity could distract or empower. Keanu feels a ghost of old Hollywood anxiety tighten around his ribs. Thornhill's eyes smolder, but his anger isn't for Keanu surprisingly. It's protective. Thornhill, commanding. Phones off. Focus forward. The contest cares about proofs, not paparazzi. And if any drone interrupts our practice, I'll integrate it over a trash can boundary. The team laughs release valve opened. 5. Late night confessions over L infinity norms Thursday. 1:14 a.m. Keanu and Thornhill alone in the empty lecture hall. Chalk squeaks, coffee steams. Thornhill, soft. I hated you, you know? Not personally. Conceptually. An outsider waltzing in, solving problems I've wrestled for decades. Keanu, we all drag our shadows around. Some heavier than others. Thornhill, when I was your age, I was the prodigy. My thesis was poised to prove the Peterson conjecture. I failed, publicly. Funding dried, friends distanced. He gestures at a dusty box of yellowing notebooks, the graveyard of that. Lost proof. Thornhill, I built walls. Easy to bruise no ego if you never let anyone close. Keanu, quiet. Maybe this team is a door, not another wall. They exchange a look acknowledgement without fuss. Chalk resumes. 6. The rival unveiled at the NCMC orientation in Chicago's Lakeshore Convention Center. Teams bustle beneath banners. The reigning champions, MIT, glide in wearing matching hoodies embroidered with a smug integral sign. Their captain, Dr. Celeste Varga, a postdoc rumored to have a brain cooled by liquid nitrogen. Celeste approaches. Celeste, icy smile. Professor. Thornhill, heard you drafted in Celebrity Talent. Cute. Keanu, warm smile. Hi, loved your paper on Clayler manifolds. Reads like jazz. Celeste, momentarily disarmed, then recovers. Flattery won't spare you. We've never lost. She flicks her lanyard like a mic drop and sachets off. G-Loop, whisper. Villain energy, 10 out of 107. Event 1. Lightning limits round 1. Team stationed at identical long tables. Overhead clocks ticking like caffeinated metronomes. Problem. Evaluatellims give 0, sine, 3x, 3x5. Lim underscore, x to 0. Biggle, track, sine, 3x, 3x, free. Bigger, x gives 0 lim, x5 sine, 3x, 3x. Easy warm-up. Andre's pen flies, Yuki checks sign. Thornhill signals lock, they buzz 5 seconds ahead of MIT. Scoreboard. Stanford 1, MIT 0. Camera zoom on Keanu's calm smile. Twitter melts again, 8 event 2, the infinite relay teams. Alternate partial solutions to a monstrous functional equation. Drop it. You're out, Stanford strategy. Maya starts, series, passes to G-loop, boundary. Thornhill, estimate, Yuki, symmetry, Andre, final touch. Keanu stays on deck as tactical sub. MIT fires answers with machine gun precision. Crowd gasps as Celeste finishes her segment with a flourish. Stanford keeps pace, but as Andre prepares his line, his pen slips. A smear threatens clarity. Panic flickers. Keanu swaps in, seamlessly rewriting Andre's last 2 steps. Cleaning notation and adding a tiny smiley derivative. Crowd chuckles. Round complete. Judges deliberate. Tie. 9. Celeste's gambit backstage during break. Celeste corners Keanu. Celeste, you hide behind humility like a bulletproof vest. Tell me, does it crack under real pressure? Keanu, steady. Humility isn't armor. It's the absence of needing armor. Celeste smirks. We'll see in the decathlon question. She walks away, confident in an edge no one knows. Yet, except Thornhill, whose face has gone white reading the sealed envelope labeled event. 10. He swallows. 10 mid-episode cliffhanger. Envelope's problem, he recognizes fragments of his ancient failed Peterson conjecture proof. Weaponized. MIT's coach chairs the question writing committee. Celeste likely helped design it. Thornhill grips the envelope. Thornhill whispers, they're betting I'll choke. Keanu, then let's remind them the beauty of second derivatives. You can always change curvature. Camera pans up to the convention hall skylight. Snow begins to fall, each flake a fleeting asterisk on the math war unfolding below. Fade to black. The envelope opens backstage. Thornhill slides a trembling finger beneath the seal. Problem 10. Decathlon. Prove or disprove the Peterson conjecture, 1898, for all simple. Bridgeless cubic graphs containing a Hamiltonian path on 2 north is greater than or equal to 10. Vertices. If proof is impossible in the allotted time, supply a counterexample or a provably minimal obstruction. 60 minutes. Thornhill's knees try to defect from his body. This is his white whale now weaponized by MIT. He drops the page. Keanu catches it. Keanu, quiet. We've got 60 minutes and 6 brains. That's 10 brain minutes per vertex. We can do this. Thornhill, hoarse. Keanu, I've chased this for 30 years. Keanu, good, you brought notes. Behind them the team huddles, eyes wide as saucers full of integrals. 2. The Game plan: a nearby storage closet morphs into mission control. Maya spreads snack wrappers like battle maps. G-Loop mans a whiteboard tripod. Andrei hums Tchaikovsky to keep rhythm. Yuki folds origami cubic graphs for spatial intuition. Strategy. Thornhill plus. Yuki, structural decomposition and parity arguments. Maya plus G-Loop, brute force search for counterexample up to 24 vertices using laptop plus caffeine. Andrei, spectral graph heuristics. Identifies bottleneck subgraphs. Keanu, integrator-in-chief, stitching partial results into a coherent proof or, failing that, a killer abstraction. 3. MIT's hidden weapon Celeste Varga lounges. On stage like a panther in a beanbag, already scribbling flow polynomials. She smirks at Stanford's empty table. Celeste, to camera. Any minute now Mr. Action Hero will discover math isn't choreographed. 4. Panic point. T42 minute. Maya's laptop blue screens. G-Loop accidentally spills neon orange chaos energy drink on the keyboard. Sparks fizz. Counterexample search dies. Thornhill's voice cracks. Thornhill, we're hemorrhaging. Time. Keanu, steady. When one dimension collapses, rotate the space. He grabs the busted logic board, flips it over, and uses it as a physical pegboard. Andrei's spectral notes pinned with thumbtacks. Yuki's origami graphs nested like 3D pop-ups.5, breakthrough, T18 minute. Yuki notices every obstruction candidate shares a twin triangle motif. Thornhill's old notebooks hold a margin doodle hinting the same, but he dismissed it decades ago as geometry graffiti. Keanu flashes a grin. Keanu, your past self just sent us a postcard. Andrei converts the motif into an adjacency matrix. Inequality. Keanu rips chunks from Thornhill's dormant thesis to plug the gaps. G-Loop, marker clenched between teeth, draws a cartoon dragon encircling the final implication arrow. Peterson true for 2 north is greater than or equal to 10. They stare. It works, Maya whispers, QE freaking D. 6. Race to the buzzers. With 7 minutes left, they sprint literally to the hall. Thornhill nearly collides with Celeste, who raises an eyebrow at their arts and crafts proof board. Celeste, smirk. Did you harvest that from kindergarten? Thornhill, surprisingly gentle. Inspiration has no age limit. The moderator signals. Papers down, present 7, presentation. Style versus substance. MIT steps first. Celeste unveils 30 slides of bulletproof algebraic flow wizardry, but halts at slide 27. Her Hampath lemma silently assumes a girth constraint never proven. Judges murmur. Stanford rolls out Thornhill's dusty notebooks. Yuki's origami, Andrei's matrices, Maya's taped ghost code, Keanu's narrative stitching it all. It looks insane until it doesn't. The judges lean in, connecting. The bricolage like a live-action jigsaw. Final flourish. Keanu pins G-Loop's cartoon dragon atop the last page. Then adds a tiny, respectful smiley face. No wink this time. Point 8. Judgment. Fiv judge panel confers. 30 eternal seconds later. Head judge. MIT's solution, while elegant, contains an unproven assumption. Stanford's presentation is unconventional but complete and rigorously justified. The Peterson decathlon goes to Stanford University. Crowd erupts. Drone cameras capture Celeste's perfectly composed poker face, cracking by 0.7 degrees tiny, but seismic. 9. Aftermath flashbulb strobe. Reporters stampede. Thornhill looks shell-shocked, then genuinely lighter. Thornhill. Into mic, voice steady. Credit belongs to my students and to unexpected friendships. Today proves competition's highest form is collaboration. He turns to Keanu, extends a hand. Keanu shakes it, then pulls him into a half-hug that earns 1,000,000 retweets before they even break apart. Maya fist pumps. Yuki cries happy tears. G-Loop empties remaining Funyuns over Andre like confetti. 10. Celeste's encore backstage. Celeste corners Keanu once more, this time without venom. Celeste, your team beat us fair. Next year rematch? Keanu smiles. Only if it's a mixed team. We recruit across universities. Celeste laughs in spite of herself. Cross-institutional? Scandalous. She looks at the dragon sketch proof board now framed for the press. Celeste, soft. Never thought kindergarten art could slay century-old conjectures. Keanu, every masterpiece starts with crayons. 11. Thornhill's redemption that night at the hotel bar. Thornhill emails the conference committee, attaching a cleaned-up version of the proof and listing all 6 teammates as equal co-authors. First, author, Thornhill and Reeves joint, he exhales. Deletes a draft apology blog post to the math world, because the proof is the apology. Thornhill to himself. Door opened. 12. Cliffhanger for Part 5 phone buzz. Unknown number. Keanu answers. Voice, Mr. Reeves. This is the International Mathematical Union. We'd like to discuss presenting your team's result in Paris next spring, possibly plenary. Keanu's eyebrows do the wave. He turns to the team, all gathered, munching celebratory pizza. Keanu, how do you guys feel about croissants? Cue freeze frame group cheer. 80s synth sting.jet lagged integrals. The team's red-eye to Paris started like every math joke that begins on an airplane. Cramped legs, cold croissants, and someone inevitably deriving Maxwell's equations on. A barf bag. Thanks, G-Loop. KeanuReeves, hoodie-hooed up like a shy Jedi, sat beside Professor Thornhill, who was grading problem sets with the zeal of a TSA agent scanning luggage for contraband functions. Keanu, you ever notice turbulence is just the airplane's way of doing a quick Fourier transform on your stomach? Thornhill, groan. If you start proving that joke, I'm requesting an emergency landing. Behind them, Maya quizzed. Andre on French idioms. How do you say please pass the convergence radius? While Yuki sketched an origami Eiffel Tower out of the complimentary safety card, thankfully after reading it. 2. Benvenue. Paparazzi Charles D. Gaulle Airport greeted them with 2 customs lines. EU citizens and people chasing Keanu with cameras. The latter was longer. A paparazzo shouted, Keanu, show us the proof. Keanu deadpanned. Which one, the Pythagorean or my daily proof of coffee addiction? Click, 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 headline secured. Thornhill muttered, this is why academia invented closed seminars. Keanu handed him aviator sunglasses. Relax. Pretend you're modeling Stoic couture. 3. IMU headquarters. Rue Saint-Jacques. The International Mathematical Union's marble lobby smelled of polished history and very old chalk. A gilt sign welcomed them. Plenary talk, Stanford 6 and celebrity guest. Thornhill, horrified whisper. That word celebrity is the opposite of rigor. Maya, branding professor. Just think of it as a flashy lemma. They were ushered to a prep suite featuring a whiteboard the size of a tennis court and an espresso machine that steamed like a locomotive. Andre serenaded the room with Chopin. On a travel keyboard, G-Loop fine-tuned a VR headset demo that turned cubic graphs into walk-through sculptures. Yuki replaced her origami Eiffel Tower with a Klein bottle hat because Paris fashion. Fade to black. 4. Enter Dr. Lucien Marchand, keeper of grudges, a silver-haired French mathematician, all silk scarf and razor-thin smile, glided in unannounced. Marchand. So this is the artisanal proof. Ter's charmant. But the IMU expects haute couture, not kindergarten collage. Thornhill bristled. Keanu spoke first. Keanu, art and math share one rule. If it works, it works. Marchand, arching brow. We'll see tomorrow. Assuming your files don't get lost in translation. He swept out, scarf fluttering like passive-aggressive punctuation. 5. Sabotage at midnight at 2:17. Maya screamed. The team's laptop, network folder containing cleaned-up proof slides was empty. Deleted. The only clue, a sticky note. On Thornhill's desk reading, "Elegance is deletion." Signed with a curlicue MG loop. I knew we should have used two-factor and Funyun authentication. Thornhill, grim, Martian. Keanu, then we rebuild. Like a limit, we approach. Completion from scratch only faster. 6. The janitor with the golden ratio, while scrambling for replacement adapters in the basement. Keanu bumped into Lee Dubois, a 19-year-old night custodian scribbling determinant tricks on scrap cardboard. Keanu, nice Laplace. Expansion. Lee, startled. Oh, just passing time. Keanu, passing time with multilinear algebra? You free for a rescue mission? 10 minutes later, Lee was upstairs recoding Maya's lost animation from memory after reading it once. Thornhill's jaw dropped so low it achieved its own lower bound. Yuki, whispering, "We just found a human GPU." Andre, to Lee, "Join." US on stage. Lei, bashful. "I only have janitor credentials." Keanu, "Credentials are just boundary conditions. Talent is invariant." 7. Dress rehearsal, 546 slides regenerated. VR demo retextured. Proof storyboard rebuilt. Across 6-meter-high panels plus Leah's cardboard addendum, in case elegance deletes us again. G-Loop taped a pack of Funyuns behind each panel as emergency morale rations. Thornhill approached Keanu at sunrise, eyes softer than previous time zones. Thornhill, thank you for reminding me mathematics is a public square, not a gated community. Keanu, doors, not walls, remember? Thornhill, at this point I'm installing revolving doors. 8 plenary showtime. The amphitheater buzzed with 200 delegates, translation headsets, and the aroma of existential dread. Front row, Celeste Varga, arms crossed, faint smile, Dr. Marchand, polishing glasses sinisterly, and a handful of Nobel-adjacent physicists just curious. Opening. Thornhill introduces the team as the Stanford Six, plus 1 Parisian wildcard. G-Loop cues the VR. Audience members don headsets, gasping as twin triangle motifs float like holographic snowflakes. Yuki narrates with origami and synchronized dance. Andre plays a short piano flourish each time a slide QEDs. Mid-talk. Leah steps forward to present a corollary she derived at breakfast. The conjecture also holds for cubic graphs with a Hamiltonian cycle on 2 north is greater than or equal to 14 vertices. Murmurs turn to applause. Marchand stands, objecting. Unpeer-reviewed extrapolation. Keanu smiles. We invited peer review now. He tosses a marker to Marchand. Prove it wrong. The room hushes. Marchand writes, hesitates, frowns. He can't break it. Celeste bursts into appreciative laughter first, others follow. Thornhill's grin might qualify as a concave upsurge. 9. Standing. Ovation and an upgrade for Lee. Then U President takes the stage. President, we confer immediate provisional acceptance of the expanded proof pending journal review. And we award Lee Dubois a full scholarship to any French university of her choice. Lee cries. Maya hugs her. G-Loop brandishes a Funyun like the Olympic torch. 10. Night at the Pantheon celebration dinner beneath vaulted ceilings. Celeste toasts rival turned ally. Celeste, to proofs that survive sabotage, lost laptops, and French sarcasm. Keanu, and to the young minds who remind us math belongs to everyone. A phone rings. It's Hollywood. Producer voice, speakerphone, Keanu. The world needs the Matrix movie. Picture this. Chalk nunchucks. Keanu, side-eye to Thornhill. I'll consider. On one condition academic consultants get top billing. Thornhill, deadpan. I demand a stunt double for grading scenes. 11. Epilogue. Awards and forks in the road. IMU schedules a special journal issue featuring the team's proof stack, including Lee as co-author. Marshang issues a terse apology, then invites them to co-host a Paris workshop called Elegance from Chaos. Thornhill receives offers from Cambridge and ETH Zurich, but turns them down, announcing a sabbatical to mentor Lay's research group in Lyon. Celeste launches the Global Math League, an annual cooperative tournament Stanford and MIT on the same banner. Keanu's inbox piles scripts, but he starts drafting a children's book, The Polynomial That Could. 12. Cliffhanger for Part 6. A courier delivers 6 sealed envelopes to each team member. Inside, an invitation from the Clay Mathematics Institute. Help us design the next millennium problem criteria. Maya gasps. They're asking us to write the unsolved problems? Yuki smiles beneath her Klein bottle hat. Looks like infinity just got bigger. Camera pans out over Paris at dawn, Seine glinting like an infinite series converging to hope. Fade to lavender sky. Return of the variable heroes after Paris. The Stanford Six plus the newly christened Seventh Element. Lee Dubois returned to campus like triumphant astronauts, but fame was now trailing them like a persistent cat. Everywhere Keanu walked, someone whispered Peterson. Students reenacted proof sketches on chalkboards like it was a Broadway musical. G. Loop signed a freshman's calculus textbook with a Funyun. The media called it the proof heard round the world. The academic journals called it an unexpected but compelling resolution of an age-old conjecture. And Professor Thornhill called it finally ... acceptable. 2. The Clay invitation. A cream-colored envelope arrived in Keanu's mailbox, smelling faintly of eucalyptus and unspoken intellectual pressure. Dear Mr. Reeves and colleagues, the Clay Mathematics Institute invites you to collaborate on designing the framework for the next millennium problems. Sincerely, the committee. 7 identical envelopes. 7 stunned faces in the math lounge. Maya. They want us to invent new millennium problems? We just solved one. We didn't. Ascend to demigod status. Andre. Technically, if you discover a function that describes all functions, demigod status is implied. G-loop. Does this come with free snacks? Yuki. Only if the problem is NP complete. 3. Into the Clay. The Stanford team traveled to the Clay Institute headquarters in Oxford, England. This time, no VR goggles or sabotage, just quiet. High-ceilinged libraries filled with ghosts of Gauss and G. Del Dot in the boardroom. They met the selection council, a table of ancient mathematicians who looked like they only aged when a theorem was proven wrong. Dr. Irene Sue, the youngest member, only 49, practically a toddler by math standards, greeted them. Sue, we don't want spectacle, we want vision. What does the future of unsolved math look like? Thornhill, dryly, preferably not as a PowerPoint. Keanu, it looks like curiosity wearing persistence. The council gave them 1 week, full access to Clay's archives, and a chalkboard so large it required a wheeled scaffold to finish the top left corner. 4. What is a millennium problem anyway? To warm up, they studied the original 7 problems. Riemann hypothesis, P versus NP, Navier-Stokes, Birch and Swinnerton, Deer, Yang, Mills, Hodge conjecture, Poincare, now solved. Maya. They're deep, ancient, tied to physics, code, or geometry. They don't just challenge math, they change it. Then our problems must be future-facing. 5. Brainstorming begins. Session 1. The quantum problem. Andre, can we mathematically prove that quantum entanglement structures obey specific topological invariants across all observable systems? G-loop? Translation? Yuki, can we find a math law for spooky action at a distance? Keanu, nice. Call it the Schrödinger stability conjecture. Session 2. The algorithm problem. Maya, can every deterministic algorithm be reformulated as a minimal energy function? Thornhill, that's not a math problem, it's a philosophical taunt. Keanu, why not both? Session 3. The consciousness problem. Lee, can we define a purely mathematical threshold function for consciousness in any computational system? Everyone, silence Thornhill softly. That's either genius or terrifying. Keanu, yes. 6. The top 3 after endless pizza, blackboards, and one impromptu hallway nap pile. The entanglement integrity problem. Prove or disprove that quantum entangled systems maintain topological invariance under universal decoherence limits. The minimal algorithm conjecture. Prove that any deterministic process can be reformulated as the unique minimizer of an abstract energy functional. The consciousness threshold hypothesis. Formally define and quantify the minimum conditions under which a system, biological or synthetic, can be said to possess conscious experience. Sue, reading the final 3. You've just written questions that reach beyond numbers. These aren't just millennium problems. They're millennium mirrors. Keanu, let's hope someone likes what they see. 7. Media frenzy. Redux back in the U.S. The Wall Street Journal dropped the headline, Keanu Reeves and the calculus crew set the next century of math. The Atlantic went with a bolder, from action star to abstract oracle. Thornhill winced. Thornhill, I preferred when I was quoted in the footnotes of footnotes. Keanu, grinning. Now your headline material, Professor. Thornhill, please never say that again. 8. Forks in the road. With the proof complete and the problem set, the team stood at the edge of diverging paths. Maya accepted a PhD offer at Cambridge to export chaos globally. Yuki began building a non-profit to bring math mentorship to underfunded schools. Her origami work now featured in MoMA. Andre joined CERN's theoretical division, hoping to map space-time through music. Loop got a Funyun sponsorship and a Twitch stream called Crunch and Conjecture. Lee has started at the University of Paris, already tutoring professors. Thornhill took a sabbatical not to rest, but to write a book titled The Collaborative Proof. And Keanu? He packed a duffel bag, kissed the whiteboard one last time, and disappeared ... again. 9. Where is Keanu now? Rumors swirl. Some say he's hiking across Nepal, helping monks optimize temple acoustics. Others swear he was spotted in Peru, graphing on napkins in a cafe. A few claim he now runs an anonymous math advice forum called QEDADDY. But one thing is certain: every month, a new post appears on Neologics, signed only with a and the phrase, still proving, still learning. 10. Cliffhanger for Part 7. At an academic gala months later, Thornhill receives an anonymous envelope with a simple message. You taught me how to solve problems. I still have one left. Meet me in Kyoto. Bring chalk. Signed. With a smiley face, he flips the page over. There, written in soft pencil, a new conjecture, untitled, unsolved, waiting. Thornhill smiles. Damn it, Reeves. Fade to cherry blossoms. A chalkboard waits beneath them. Kyoto calling cherry blossoms were not supposed to bloom in November, and yet, here they were, fluttering outside the secluded Zen temple on the edge of Kyoto's philosopher's path. Professor Thornhill stood beneath them in a tan overcoat, looking like a man who'd finally found peace or at least remembered how to look for it. Clutched in his hand, a slip of paper marked with the mysterious phrase, "The Untitled Conjecture." "Bring chalk." He didn't have to wait long. A familiar figure approached, hands in pockets, wind brushing his hair back. Keanu Reeves. No entourage, no cameras. Just a quiet man with a mind still in motion. Thornhill, grinning. "You know, you could have just sent an email like a normal prodigy." Keanu. "But where's the poetry in that?" 2. The last problem inside the temple's private study, a blank chalkboard awaited. Keanu. "After Paris and clay. And the chaos, I kept thinking, what's left?" Thornhill. Existential crisis. Usually hits around the third sabbatical. Keanu stepped up to the board. He wrote just one phrase. "Is there a general function that describes mathematical curiosity?" Silence. Thornhill, chuckling. "You're trying to prove the shape of wonder?" Keanu softly. "Not prove, explore." He turned, eyes calm. Keanu. "It's not a formal conjecture. It's a philosophy, a variable no one's dared define. What if curiosity, intellectual drive, could be expressed mathematically?" 3. The chalk talks. What followed was one of the strangest and most beautiful experiences in Thornhill's life. They stayed in Kyoto for 5 days. Each morning, they met at the temple study, brewed green tea, and filled the board with equations, questions, and metaphors. Curiosity as a derivative of entropy. An eigenvalue of attention span. A Lagrangian of unmet knowledge. A probability cloud of conceptual gravity. What pulls a mind toward discovery? By day 3, they weren't chasing a solution. They were mapping a field in new space, where the pursuit of knowledge itself could be quantified. Thornhill, "You're not asking what curiosity is. You're asking how we measure its motion." Keanu. "Exactly. A vector field of wonder." 4. A visit from an old friend. On the 4th day, Maya arrived. Then Yuki. Then G-Loop carrying a box of Japanese Funyuns. Eventually, Andre and Lee joined. Word had spread, whispers in academia, rumors and blog comments, and one very cryptic post on neologics. They gathered around the blackboard, adding ideas, debating variables. Maya. "It needs a time dimension." Curiosity grows or dies. Yuki. "What about resilience?" A failure coefficient. Andre. "And inspiration sources, music, nature, even memes." G-Loop. "Don't forget snacks." "My math is 40% glucose." Lee. "Maybe curiosity isn't a variable. It's the function itself." The room went still. Thornhill, smiling. "You've all gone completely mad." Keanu. "Madness is just the derivative of genius." 5. The model emerges on the 5th night. They stepped back. The chalkboard was full equations, graphs, poetic variables, and one beautiful formula, Cx. T equals integral 0t alpha, x to plus gamma, xt, dt mathcal t. T equals int underscore ot alpha x cdot ost plus gamma xt equals integral 0t alpha esci eq t c plus gamma x tdt, where c mathcal c equals curiosity at subject xx over time to alpha x equals initial spark of interest beta x equals friction from difficulty failure gamma xt equals inspiration input from environment, peers, culture. Thornhill, it's not provable, not even falsifiable, Keanu. But it's teachable. They weren't proving the formula of curiosity. They were creating a way to talk about it. 6. A final message. The team parted one by one, leaving Kyoto changed. Keanu lingered at the temple one last night, staring at the CHALKBOARD. He added a final line beneath the formula. Wonder is continuous. Infinity. He snapped a photo, uploaded it anonymously to Neologics, and signed it simply, KC7, Epilogue. Years later, the curiosity equation became a cultural meme in academic circles. TED Talks, T-shirts, One Physics. Textbook called it the Schrödinger's cat of motivational math. A few critics called it soft. Students called it hopeful. Lee eventually published a paper titled Curiosity as a Meta-Function Toward Quantitative Epistemology. It won 3 awards and 0 of her chalkboards were sabotaged. Thornhill retired 2 years later. On his final day, he left a note on his office door. Please prove something beautiful. If not, at least make it weird. Professor Edwin Thornhill, Emeritus 8. Where's Keanu now? Nobody knows exactly, but every few months, a fresh post appears on Neologics, sometimes a proof sketch, sometimes a quote, sometimes a silly pun. One read, Curiosity is a function with no known upper bound. Some say he's in Alaska, mapping aurora patterns to prime distributions. Others heard he's in Morocco, helping a young girl solve her first calculus limit. Someone swears they saw him on a New York subway, helping a teenager derive a Fibonacci identity on the back of a pizza box. All anyone can say for sure is, wherever there's a question that scares someone enough not to ask it, Keanu's probably already solving it, with chalk. And a smiley face. YouTube video transcript, Part 7. Title: KeanuReeves solves the final equation. Part 7. The final variable. Opening ambient music, cherry blossom animation. Narrator. In Kyoto, beneath blooming trees out of season, Keanu and his mentor meet one last time, not to solve a problem, but to ask one. Chalkboard fills with poetic equations. Thornhill, you're trying to graph the heart of math itself. Keanu, what else is math for? Old teammates return. G-loop, I brought snacks and sanity. Maya, you always bring one of those equation forms on board. Narrator, it wasn't proof. It was purpose. Final scene, Keanu at chalkboard, writing, Wonder is continuous. Narrator, softly, some problems change the world. Others remind us why the world is worth changing. Outrow, soft piano, chalk squeak sounds, blossoms drifting. Thank you for joining this 7-part journey. If you love the ride, share it with a fellow seeker, drop a, and tell us. What's your equation of curiosity? The end.